everybody, and welcome to the new series, Blue
I was wait-
Balls, presented by the Duck Duck Bros podcast. Right?
I was waiting for the welcome back.
No. I mean, if welcome back. If this is, if you're a avid listener or viewer,
Yeah, for sure, for
um,
sure.
but definitely, welcome to the
The new
first
installment.
new installment, the first um, episode. Um, where we just talk about Dodgers baseball. This will be a weekly series uh, posted before the weekend series, right? Every
Hmm.
week. So this will be posted right before the home opener tomorrow. Um,
Good.
Dodgers and the Reds. Walker Buehler will be on the
Hmm.
mound for the Dodgers. But aside from that, the Dodgers have played 5 games so far. Um, 3-2, not bad, not great, right?
Hmm.
Some things that I think fans are a little worried about 5 games in. Some things I don't know. Maybe it's too early for me,
Yeah,
It's way too
I
early.
wasn't even worried about it.
It's only 5 games. Um, First series, go against the Rockies, who everyone kind of thinks like are going to be down in the bottom with the Diamondbacks towards the end of the year.
Hmm.
Who knows how that team plays out? They got Chris Bryant. They still have Charlie Blackmon. Um, that obviously I see them as the fourth place team, in my opinion. But I mean, they're not a team that you can just go in and take lightly anymore. Um,
Yeah, I would
so
say so, especially when they're playing at home.
yeah, especially when
Anything can happen at
yeah
home,
the
man.
balls fly a little
So
bit.
yeah.
It's Coors Field, um, notorious for notorious for a lot of runs,
Hmm.
and the ball just flying. So I mean, Dodgers get the win opening day. It took them a while to get going. They put up a 5 run, I think fourth inning it was.
Hmm.
It was nice and dandy going into day two, thinking, you know what? Maybe we're just gonna breeze through this series. They don't, right?
Definitely not.
They lose a 1 run ball game to the next night. Blake Trinan gives up a home run in the eighth, I think,
Yep.
and then end up losing 3-2. Offense wasn't really clicking. Go into day three, where the wind kind of played a factor, End up winning that game. I mean, losing that game by not too bad of a margin, but I mean, for the Dodgers standards, I would say, um, is not especially when you think about the the game, the Dodgers and the Rockies, 9-4 doesn't
Right.
seem very, um,
I think if you lose by 5,
yeah,
it's never looks good. I don't care who you are.
yeah. But
You
definitely
know.
when you're a team that the caliber of the Dodgers, everyone's eyes are on you.
Hmm.
They're getting comparisons to the 1927 Yankees as the greatest lineup ever. Um, so definitely not a good look. But I mean, it's 162 games. We're gonna lose at least 50 games, I would say. You
Hmm.
know, but I mean, I think the one thing that did concern me over the weekend, before we talk about what happened in the Twins series, um, is Julio Urias didn't look great. Or I mean, the velo was down, the control was down. He wasn't really placing the ball like we're used to seeing him kind of putting the ball where he wants. I don't know if that's to lack of spring training, the lockout. Maybe he wasn't doing anything since he probably thought there was no season. I don't know what his training regiment was during the lockout, but
Also, to add on to that, right? Um, which we've had this before,
Yeah,
right? With the whole like COVID, and we didn't know what was going to happen, or anything
yeah,
like that. And so we have this problem, especially for pitchers and catchers, right? Where you have to be on a set schedule,
yeah,
right? That's why they report first, right? So that we could go ahead and get the throwing program going. And you don't want to start too soon, right? You don't want to start too late. So the timing for that is perfect.
yeah.
It has to be perfect, right?
Of course.
So I think that's a key contributor to the way that he's looking, right? Um, some guys don't really need that too much. Some guys do, right?
Yeah,
Everybody's a little bit different. Walker, he just throws 100 miles an hour at all times. So that's just
yeah.
how he is, right? So when his velo's up, it's always up, you know.
Of course.
Other guys need to themselves into it, right? And they need that throwing program. They need to, that time to get back up to where they normally are, right? So I think that's a key factor, and I don't think people realize that too often,
Yeah.
right? You're not throwing. I don't think people realize you're not throwing 95 plus throughout the whole year.
Oh no,
That's not a thing.
it's not
That
ideal.
is
No.
that's not how it works,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Only a very select few guys are able to do that.
yeah.
You know, other guys, they need to get that throwing program in,
hmm
right? I mean, look at Bauer right now,
Yeah,
right? Even with like the live at bats that they're doing over there at Momentum, right? Like he's barely clocking up to 91, 92, and people are like, "What's going on?" It's like because he's not. If you think about, like, he's one of the guys, the main guys that like brought in, like his first outing, like he warmed up for an hour and a half, right?
yeah,
And you look at it, he has so many different, you know, ways to throw and perform, and as far as calculating how his body is at that time, right? And what he needs to do to be able to go out there and perform the way that he normally does, right?
yeah,
So that's a key factor for pitchers
yeah,
specifically. Batters, that's a whole different story. But for pitching, you have to have that throwing program, and you have to have that time to be able to get back to, um, you know, mid-season form.
yeah. Of course. But yeah, I think that was the one. I think the biggest concern, right? And like you're gonna see guys come out of the gate hot. You're gonna see guys come out struggling. Didn't get a full spring training, and I feel like after a game, the last that after the weekend series, you had a lot of fans kind of just like all right, like what's going on here? Like
Hmm.
uh, nobody's really hitting. The averages were low. Really, just Chris Taylor and Gavin Lux were kind of carrying
Right.
the torch. Everyone else, Muncy was struggling to get it going. Turner was getting hits here and there. Bellinger had a 2-hit game. That last game, even Will Smith, Mookie, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner. I mean, they were getting hits, but it didn't seem like they were like in rhythm. Which I mean, with 5 games, like
Right. It's really hard to
it's
be in rhythm,
it's hard to be
you
in
know?
rhythm, especially when you had 3 weeks to prepare, right? Like,
Right. And not only that, but like you also have to look at it's spring training.
yeah,
So they're not always facing
you're not facing.
top-notch guys. They could be facing AAA guys. They could be facing AA guys
Yeah,
at sometimes. So it's not always going to be major league pitching that they're seeing. Right. So now with the games there, and not only that, but in spring training, you're not really throwing 100%. I would assume, right? Like
yeah,
you're not just going out there and you're working on stuff. You're not trying to get injured. You're not, you know, going. I wouldn't say full speed, right? But
yeah,
there's a difference between throwing, right, and then throwing with max effort,
yeah.
right?
Of course.
And in games, you throw with max effort and you dumb it down sometimes, and then you bring it up, right?
Yeah,
But there's a complete difference from spring training speed and real game speed,
yeah. Of course.
right?
Um,
Same thing with football, like preseason and regular season, right?
yeah,
There's a notch that is added.
yeah. Of course. Yeah, and then we just get into I mean, I think people just expect it. It's like we said, it's the Dodgers, big name
Mhm.
team that's like like we said, compared to that 1927 Yankees team, everyone's just expecting them to show up and put up 5-10 runs a game. You gotta think, with all the stats and everything around, like even if you got the best players, it doesn't mean they're gonna show up every day and produce.
Exactly.
They have weaknesses, they have strengths. Sometimes you just have one of those days. And then they go into this 2-game little short series against the Twins. Not a bad team. Andrew Heaney gives us a good start,
All
four
right.
and a third, 5 strikeouts, 3 hits, and 1 run that was an unearned run for him.
I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, I was
I
too
was I
because
was I was not really expecting much.
yeah, especially
To be
going like
honest.
watching him in spring training, he was getting kind of tossed around a little bit.
Hmm.
And I was just like, oh man. I was looking at that top of the lineup. I was like Buxton, Correa, Polanco, Urshela, Gary Sanchez. Like these guys are gonna have a day with them.
Sounds like runs,
It
boys.
sounds like these, and especially with the Twins who seem like they're more home run driven.
Hmm.
A more home run driven team over the years. Like I was like, dude, like
Yeah.
they're gonna shell this guy. And he pitched well. He didn't get a quality start or a win or whatever, but he pitched. He I think what we're seeing early on in these games is that the pitchers, especially, are still building up
Hmm.
their innings, their pitching. So it's like, you know what?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah. As we go into this before we go into this next game that we're going to talk about, the big one. Um, but yeah, like the bats weren't alive until that 8th inning when they put up 6 runs to take a commanding lead, and then the rain came in and it didn't get finished till midnight. But nonetheless, a good win, and it seemed like all right. Now the gates are going to start rolling. Things are going to start rolling. That team, maybe this is what they needed. So
Hmm.
good win there. And then going into the big topic that Robbie Ray is excited
That's a,
to,
just a little,
he's
It's
excited.
a big topic.
It's a big
I
topic.
feel like a lot of people are mad.
Oh yeah, I think it's a big topic not only just for like Dodger fans, but just baseball fans in
Yeah.
general. So
Yeah.
I feel
For
like
sure.
for it to be the Dodgers and be our first episode, it happened just this morning.
Yeah. It's
So
great timing.
great timing. Um, yeah, uh, if you don't watch baseball or you didn't get to watch the Dodger game, you're a Dodgers fan, you didn't get to see the game, or you heard maybe, but I was watching the game. I was at practice, had the game on. We were running a little inter squad. I was being the umpire, but I had my phone. I had the game on.
Of
Um,
course.
and my man Kershaw was dealing like he's never dealt before. He had 7
Yeah.
innings, no hits, no runners allowed, and 13 strikeouts in just 80 pitches. Right? He was perfect through 7 innings. Some say, Dave Roberts, good job. It's still early. You know, this perfect game now doesn't mean anything if he's not pitching down the road in a postseason push, right?
Hmm.
Other fans angry, mad because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to throw a perfect game, right? You throw him out there, he gives up a hit, all right, take him out, right? Walk somebody, maybe take him out. He's already thrown a
Hmm.
no hitter. Let's combine it. Let's try to get that going. They just pull him out after 7 innings. I was kind of like I was watching. I was like, oh, they took him out, and I was just like, But I seen him in the dugout. He's smiling. He's having a great time. I'm just
Hmm.
like, whoa, Kershaw. If Kershaw's not mad, like, you know, I shouldn't be mad. Obviously he's okay with the decision, but at the same time, it's like it's a perfect game, you know. But at the same time, after the game, Kershaw said he blames the lockout. She said you can blame the lockout. Didn't throw enough pitch, didn't get a build up like we want, like we were talking about earlier. Building up, getting that throwing program, getting to where you want to be, so that on opening day you can throw 90 to 100 pitches and possibly finish off a perfect game.
Mm-hmm.
With all that being said, thoughts, concerns, feelings?
I have a lot of feelings, and I'm gonna start with this.
Yeah.
This has happened to me before.
Yeah.
This specific concept.
Oh, you were throwing a perfect game.
I forgot if I was throwing I forgot if it was a perfect game or a no hitter.
Okay.
But yeah, I was throwing one of them. Because I didn't realize.
Yeah. You just didn't.
Right. I was just you're in the zone. You're just throwing. Right. You don't realize. And this was when we went down to Florida for like our spring training, right? Because it was still snowing up north. So we go down to Florida, right? And I'm just shoving, feeling good. Everything, the kata is cutting. Everything's working. Yeah, everything's working great. And we had a doubleheader, so we only go 7 innings, right? Okay. And it comes to the 5th, right? I don't really remember what my pitch count was or anything like that, but I do remember the next not the next day, but the day after that. So in 2 days, we play one of our conference rivals, right? For whatever reason, they were down in Florida too, and we just scheduled us to play our conference games there.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, right, super crazy. Normally that would never happen, right? But it happened this year. So my coach wanted me to pitch that or one of those conference games, right? Because we're going to have a doubleheader, same thing, 7 innings, right? Because we have to play like 40 games in like a month and a half, right?
Yeah.
And so we have very limited time frame where we could get these games in. So whenever we played, it was doubleheaders. So 5th inning comes around. I'm probably low on my pitch count. Like I'm dealing. And so I get pulled out. Me thinking nothing about it. I was just like, all right, cool. Like I understand. Like he kind of gave me the rundown, right? He was like, hey, like we want this. We want you to pitch, one of these games coming up in 2-3 days, whatever, right? So we're going to treat this as your short day, right? So we're going to keep you in short day, 50, 60 pitches, somewhere around there. Nothing too crazy, right? We're not shooting for our long days were like 115, right? And so our short days normally was about, I would say 60 to 75 pitches, and anywhere around there, right? Yeah. Nothing crazy. And so I get to around that pitch count, right? And so he pulls me out. And one of the pitchers that was doing the book, right? He was like, dude, I would be fucking pissed right now. And I was like, why? I was like, why? Like, so what? Like, I've pitched I've pitched up a 0 before. Like it's nothing crazy. I know I'm dealing, I'm feeling good, but I've pitched a shutout before. Nothing too crazy. Like I ain't worried about it. And he's like, no, dude. I forgot no hitter, perfect game. I think it was a no hitter. I'm gonna say a no hitter, perfect game. I think I walked one person or something. Yeah. And so and then he told me, I was like, oh. I was like, all right. I was like, I didn't know that, but that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But it's also like your mentality, because my mentality was like, I knew the game plan. I knew what was going to happen, right? Definitely. He told me it would be different if, if we didn't have that set up ready, right? And it just so happened 5th inning came around, and he was like, hey, like he's doing really well. Let's just try to save him for the, the games that are coming up,
Yeah,
and then
of
he
course.
took that away from me. But you know, we had that conversation beforehand. I knew what was going to happen,
Yeah,
and I really didn't think twice about like, oh, why the fuck did you take me out? You
yeah,
know,
of course
I
not.
was just like, cool, like, all right, like I knew what was going to happen. I know we have our conference rivals coming up, so I'd rather pitch that game,
Yeah,
right, than pitch a no hitter against this team that doesn't matter,
yeah,
right?
of
Which I
course.
shoved in the conference final game. I pitched like 6 innings and only allowed 1 run.
Hey.
And unfortunately, the other pitcher did the same thing, and then we had to go to extras. We went to like the 14th inning,
Oh wow, in a
so I
doubleheader.
got taken out. Yeah, I got taken out, and so we played like 21 innings that day. It was crazy.
Sheesh. Yeah,
But yeah, so I understand kind of right, and
yeah.
I say all this to say right is I'm sure that Kershaw understood that he had a pitch count on,
Oh, of course,
right?
especially at his
All those
age.
conversations, right? All those conversations happened beforehand,
Yeah,
right? So for the people who are like, oh, well, you need to change, like it doesn't matter, it's a perfect game. Like no, like you guys have a plan, you guys have a game plan, you guys stick to it,
you got to stick to
you
your
know,
plan. No matter
and
how
that's
good
when
you
it comes
feel.
down to,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I think if, like you said, like if you have that plan before intact, like you just stick with the game plan, and as long as you're winning, nobody really cares. I mean,
hmm
obviously it's awesome to see perfect game. It would have
right,
been the 24th ever.
yep. And
Um,
I have it right here.
was
What
it
was it,
like
Chef?
somebody? Yeah,
It
already
was
said.
Jeff Passan.
Yeah, it was like
It's
2,000 and
a
something games, or I don't know.
like 220,000 games in MLB history and only 23 perfect games.
Yeah.
And so to
Have
add on to that,
have any of them ever
right?
been combined perfect game? That's a good question.
That is a good question. We combined for a no hitter
Yeah, we did in high
in
school.
high school.
Yeah, we did. Me and Robbie
Almost
Ray.
gave that almost gave that shit up.
Yeah, that little bloop to left. I remember.
Yep.
Yeah, but me and Robbie Ray combined for a no hitter in high school. Fun fact.
There we go. Studs.
Yeah.
Um, And so I think this what so we're gonna keep going on to this and what we think, and because there's a lot of blame to go around, right?
Yeah.
And
I
people are
mean,
blaming a whole bunch of people, but
and I feel like the easy guy to target is Dave Roberts, just
right,
because
but
he's the
and also
manager.
and I think it's also because this fact is going around and it does not help him,
Oh yeah,
right?
okay.
It's since 1901, two pitchers have been pulled from a game after throwing 7+ perfect innings, right? And the two that have done it was Rich Hill in 2016 and Kershaw today.
But was Rich Hill on the Dodgers in 2016?
Yeah, I believe so.
No. Wait.
Yeah,
What day was that? Does it have the date?
yeah. It was September 10th, 2016.
Oh yeah, we did. I think that's when we just traded for him, right? Yeah.
I'll tell you
Because
right
we got
now.
him and Josh Reddick. Yeah, we got him and Josh Reddick in 2016, lost to the Cubs, and then the next year we go and lose to the Astros. To Josh Reddick and the Astros.
You are correct, sir. He played in 2016. He played
Yeah. Oh wow.
in Oakland, 2016. Uh, and then 36 games with Oakland, 36 games with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be around the end of the season. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
when he pitched for us.
Oh wow. So okay, so yeah, there's that stat
There's
that
that.
you mentioned with Dave Roberts. But it also I feel like what you call it, there's a lot of Dodger fans who already don't like Dave Roberts
For whatever
for
reason,
whatever
never understood it.
reason. Everyone talk, and I think the biggest thing is if you. I feel like most of those fans are the fans that watch in October and only in October, right? Or they only watch the big games. So when they play the Angels, or they play the Padres, or the Giants, when the Giants, like whoever we're fighting for first place, I feel
hmm
like those are those fans that just watch like like key games,
Mm-hmm.
opposed to like fans like you and I who watch. Even if we watch a couple innings, we're watching every game practically. You know,
Right.
even if I missed the game, like I missed the game on was Saturday. I went home and watched the highlights. I watched,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
go
when
back
I go
and look
back,
at.
I look up. I just want to, even if we lose, you know, I'm just like, oh, like what happened? Like who did what? You
Like
know,
how.
how did we
Right.
lose? I mean, it doesn't make a difference in a 162 game season, but I'm
Mm-mm.
just curious. I just like to know. You know, I'm just it's
Yeah.
the baseball fan in me. Um, but I feel like that that his the things that Dave Roberts does is elevated in a bigger stage, obviously, because it's October. But if you
Mm-hmm.
watch him throughout the season, the man is a genius. The
Yeah.
way he would double switch guys and
Mm-hmm.
defensive replacement, pinch hit guys, and you're just like, dude, like, you know, hey, this guy needs a day off. All right, give him a day off. Let's call up this guy. Let's have him pitch today. He's going to give us 4 or 5 good innings, and we're going to still win a game
Mm-hmm.
against a tough ball club today.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, you know, he knows. We're playing the Pirates. They're in last place with all these rookies on their team. Bring up Mitch White for a game. Let him
Yeah.
have his day. Throw 7 innings shutout. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Why waste the day of Bueller and Julio against a mediocre team? No offense to it's still MLB.
Yeah.
But why waste your big guns when you got other teams to worry about that you need to beat?
Mm-hmm.
And your team's good enough to beat these teams, So, I'm a big Dave Roberts fan, you know.
For sure.
But at the
And
same time, I just obviously Kershaw is my favorite Dodger ever. Got the shirt on. You can't see the back, but it's a Kershaw shirt.
that's a two right there.
Let me turn around for real.
There it is, right there.
It's
There it is.
backwards on your guys' screen, but I mean, it's on mine. It's actually forward. It's just how the camera is looking. Um, but yeah,
Shower,
22.
shower, shower Kirk. I never. Who's that?
But yeah, you know what I'm saying. He's my favorite player. So it would have been a fucking awesome to see him throw a perfect game. But at the same time, dude, he's 30 plus years old. But the biggest thing I don't like,
Surgery and
yeah, back
whatnot. Like,
surgery, arm injury, coming off an elbow, like having elbow problems. Like, you really want to throw this guy 100 plus pitches in April? No, let him build up till he's ready. I mean, even in
hmm
like you need this guy pitching in August, September, like at his best, and not
hmm
sitting on the bench, like he was last year. Like, I don't know. I mean, and for those fans that say he's washed,
no, for sure not. I mean, look, I think
the go.
I think people forget. You know, he went from a guy that was when he first came in, he was throwing 95, 96.
Yeah,
You know,
he went from a guy. Yeah,
consistently, right? And he relied on his fastball, and then you see him evolve into a totally different pitcher when he starts implementing the slider, right? And then with the cutter, right now, and then now he's throwing his changeup more, so it's like he's continuously evolving,
yeah,
right? And you've seen that before when CC, right? CC Sabathia, same type of thing, right? Lefty was a powerhouse, relied on his fastball a lot. Then he got older, velo goes away. It happens to every fucking person, guys,
yeah,
right? And just because his velo's away, then he started working on being an actual pitcher,
yeah.
right? And pitching more to contact, doing off speed more and figuring out pitches that are there for movement and are there to miss the barrel, and that's what we look at Kershaw for now,
Mm,
and he's always evolving, he's always changing up, and that's why you see him even when he is losing velo, and even when he is has his back problems, and people say he's Washington, like he's still able to go out there and perform and be one of the best pitchers,
yep.
still in the MLB, right?
Of
So
course. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, 13 strikeouts.
Solid.
Vintage Kirsch right there, huh?
Hmm.
Vintage Kirsch. Um, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I,
mean, I see
I,
both sides of it. I
I,
get it.
I do, but also like this is the whole thing for me is we know how the Dodgers operate. We know how the front office is. We know how the analytics are, and how you know. I don't know if I would say they step in a lot, but I think they give Dave Roberts a fairly I would say free range on
Yeah,
decisions and stuff. But there are times that they come in and hey, we need this guy here in this situation, blah 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 blah, right? Um, and I think this is a somewhat a key aspect
one of those
that
moments.
this probably happened,
Yep.
And also it's just Dave Roberts. Look, Dave Roberts is going to have to be the bad guy sometimes, right? That's what being a manager is. That's what being, you have to save these guys from themselves
Mm-hmm.
sometimes,
Yep.
right?
Exactly.
And obviously Kershaw is Kershaw, and if he has a chance to for a perfect game, if he has a chance to finish a game, he's gonna go ahead and do that,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
But you have to, and it's Dave's job to make sure that he doesn't put these guys, he takes these guys out of situations that may be bad for them. And I
Yep.
think this is one of the situations that we never know,
Yeah. Of course.
right?
Yeah.
Kershaw goes out there to try to finish it up, and then he, starts getting forearm tightness or elbow tightness or
The back starts acting up.
right or a shoulder problem,
Mm-hmm.
something, right? And now he's sidelined, and it's once that stuff starts happening, it's really really hard to get back to 100%,
Uh-huh.
and then
Definitely. Yeah. And
still try to finish the season without having another
mm,
you know problem.
yep.
So
And on top of being great, you know. But like we said, it is what it is. The Dodgers still won.
mhm.
Like we said, I mean, who knows if Kershaw will ever get another chance at another perfect game. He should have already had it. Thank you, Hanley, for ruining that one.
Yeah,
But I mean, the Dodgers won. Bellinger hit a home run. Gavin Lux hit a home run.
Muncy hit a home
Muncy hit a
run.
home run. Austin Barnes.
So that's for me. That's a good sign.
That's a good sign. Mookie, Freddie, and Bellinger all had two hits.
Hmm.
So I mean, if the offense can click like that, you know, I
And we
mean,
don't need everybody on every
oh,
day.
oh
We just
nah,
need, you
just
know.
consistent. Right now it seems like Taylor and Lux are kind of carrying the team a
Hmm.
little bit. Um, but
And that's
like
going to happen
it's
throughout the
gonna, yeah,
season.
exactly. As long as the right guys are in there every day, and someone's gonna come through. You
Right.
know,
Everyone's going to have their runs. Like the same thing with Bellinger. I know everyone's talking about last season, and I was having this conversation with one of my coworkers a while back during spring training. He was
yeah.
and he was just like, "Oh, Bellinger, what was it like 13 strikeouts or
So
15
yeah,
strikeouts
something
and
like that.
whatever at bats?" And I was like, "Look, dude, he'll be fine. Like."
He'll figure
It's
it out.
spring training. He'll figure it out. Like if you heard him talking about the stuff that like during the spring training and the stuff that he was working on, it seems like he was working on a lot of stuff with his body, a lot of stuff to make sure that he's like to maintain, his physique and maintain, proper mechanics and keep his body as fresh as possible. And then also just a lot of mechanics with his swing and stuff and changing things up, right? And so he seems like he's in a good space, right? And he seems
Yeah.
like mentally he's good to go, right? And
Hmm.
that as especially for baseball, I think that's the biggest thing
Yeah.
is if
Of
you're
course.
mentally ready and you're mentally prepared for the season and you feel like you made the proper adjustments in the off season and you've made the proper uh, I would say lifestyle changes,
Yeah.
right? As far as eating better, as far as body maintenance, because it is 162 games, you know. So if you're not maintaining your body, if you're not eating the right things, if you're not constantly working out during the season, and I don't think people realize, like, you still need to work out.
Mm-hmm. You
You
still
know,
got to
like you
maintain
just,
whatever
yeah, you still
muscles.
got to make right. If you put on 20 pounds of muscle in the off season, you still got to make sure you maintain that muscle and
Yeah.
you don't lose
You
it.
better make
Or
sure 190 is still a good 190.
right, you know, you don't want to lose. You know, some of these, like, I mean, Vladdy's lost how much weight,
Yeah.
right? And what, you know, midway through the season, he doesn't put it back on because he stopped working out, he stopped eating right, and doing all this stuff, right? So
Yeah.
you still got to, throughout these games, throughout all this, you know, traveling and everything like that, these guys still need to work out and maintain, you know, the body that they worked hard for,
Of
right?
course.
And it's also maintenance, all of this stuff, right? And so I think a lot of it that goes, if you go back to, you know, let's say the past 2 years, Belly hasn't really been performing
Mm.
as well as, you know, obviously his MVP year,
Yeah.
right? But how much of that is maintenance? How much is that of him not doing what he's supposed to do throughout the season?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you look at it, MVP year, he's going off. He's doing spectacular.
Yeah.
He's playing
And he had the
as
drought.
probably right as he's playing probably more games that he's ever played, more innings that he's ever played, having more at bats as than ever, having a long postseason, and then coming back after the offseason and trying to do complete that whole thing over again. It's really taxing to the body, and if he's not doing the proper things throughout the entire season, maybe that's why we have this drop off, right? Maybe that's why he talked about focusing on maintaining, focusing on stretching, focusing on keeping his body 100% because he felt it
Mm-hmm.
after that MVP season, and maybe he just never got back, and that's just part of maturing. That's understanding your body and learning from your mistakes, right? And I feel like he's going to do that. And yeah, he might be struggling now. He looks like he's trying coming out of it. So I feel like if he might have a big year this year.
Yeah.
And look where we got without him basically throughout the whole season,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
If he's going back to, I'm not even saying MVP year,
Just
but if he's at
just
least around, if he's around 270,
yeah, 260, 270, hitting 20 plus home runs.
bro, yeah,
That's
solid.
that's all we really. I mean, that's all we really ask from him, really.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, and it's. I mean, it's a lot. You know, baseball's a hard sport. You know, but I mean, if we can get MVP Belly, that would be a fucking great. But I mean, you know, sometimes it's not gonna happen. You know, and you got to understand that as a baseball fan, especially baseball, it's just a hard sport to be
Hmm.
consistently good at. You know, I mean, how many pitchers have you seen? I mean, Jake Arrieta had one great season and then just fell off the face of the earth. You know,
Yep.
um, how many of those guys are you gonna see? I mean, hopefully it's not Bellinger. You know,
Right.
I also take into consideration last year the bum shoulder. You know, from the
Hmm.
NLCS with Kike and shoulder
Hmm.
popping out. Um, maybe that
And then
was a
playoffs,
factor.
playoffs, he figured it out, man.
Yeah, but yeah, last year in the
You
playoffs,
know.
he had a great playoff run. You know, so it's like I still believe in my boy. I think he's
Yeah.
got it. I mean, Belly, if you see this, man, we believe in you, dude. You know, we might get frustrated from time to time, but I mean, this is the way I see it, right? I see fans saying send him to Oklahoma, uh, let him get some starts down there, let him get a swing back.
Hmm.
I'm like, do you not understand that Cody Bellinger is arguably a top five defensive center fielder at least?
Hmm.
Like you want to give up one of the best center fielders defensively in baseball, not just on your team, but in all of baseball. There's 30 center fielders, and he's one of the five best defensive center fielders,
Right.
arguably number one.
And that's not been adding the stuff that he does on the base path.
Oh,
Like
I mean, look at the game last night.
walked, immediately sold second base.
Yep, and then he was like, "Oh shit, I didn't get to third. Well, I'm gonna get third. I'm gonna get to third on this one right here." Gets to
Right.
third, and then who was it? Lux
Sack fly.
sack fly.
boom, score a run,
1 run. Like,
right? So it's not just hitting. Like,
yeah,
I understand people are like, oh, average, average, average. But you also have to look at some of the stuff that he does, away from just hitting,
yeah,
right? Like you said, defensively, I would put him top five,
yeah.
center fielder. Um, and then as far as this base running and the speed that's out there, I mean, he's arguably one of the fastest guys in the MLB.
Yep.
I would. He's not he's not Byron Buxton or
No,
anything crazy,
but
but
he's fast enough.
he's fast enough, right?
And
Um,
just to think, he's batting 7th.
right.
He's a former MVP, 26, turning 27 this year. Batting
So young.
7th. That's scary to think that if he
Yeah.
finds any form of that MVP season,
I'm telling you
that the
guys,
Dodgers are going to literally be unbeatable.
right? You guys don't believe me. 1 through 9, you need pop. All right.
Hey, my boy
This is a new
Barnesy is
exactly.
he's got 2 starts, 2 home runs.
You're talking about Mookie Barnes.
Mookie Barnes.
Mookie Barnes.
Mookie
We
Barnes.
started him with Mookie, and then look at this guy.
Put him in leadoff, dude. Mookie Betts hasn't hit home run yet. You know what? I'm calling it. All right. I'm going to opening day tomorrow or home opener tomorrow.
Ooh.
I think
nice.
out of the 5, how many games did I go to last year? But Mookie led off the game, I think 3 times with the home run. 3 out of 6 or 7.
I'll put a bet on it right now.
So I'm hoping tomorrow Mookie
I feel it.
home run. And the first, I mean, he can hit it whenever, but I mean, a leadoff home run would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we'll see. Moving forward from this week, and looking forward to the next week. Got a 4-game series with the Reds, 3-game series with the Braves. What are you expecting from the Reds? You think Dodgers will go in, sweep this young team? Does he who bangs Joey Votto and the young Buck Reds, what are you excited for? What are you looking forward? Me personally, I'm excited to see Hunter Green pitch on Saturday.
Ooh, that's
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. The young rookie, potentially rookie of the year.
Mm-hmm. Look, we got Bueller, we got the Catman, Urias, and
Heaney.
Heaney.
I mean,
is it too much to go sweep on this?
I wouldn't go away from it. I mean, if the offense clicks like they did these last 2 games.
I'm just going. We scored 7 runs the last 2 games. Belly's looking like he's getting hot. Muncie's getting out of his little slump.
He had a home
right?
run in the last inning, so it's kind of all right. Is this?
I think he might be seeing the ball.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he walked twice, right?
Well, yeah, and not only that, but you're going back home,
right?
To play in front of 50,000 fans,
Yup, for the first time in a while,
yeah,
right? That we have full capacity.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think everyone's gonna be feeling good. I mean, Muncie. That's the thing about Muncie. If he's not hitting, at least he's going to be walking. At least he's getting a good at bats, right? And so the 2 walks lets me know that he's seeing the ball well, and then the home run lets me know that he's getting the timing down. And he's feeling good about the swings, right? He's putting good swings on.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're going to be rolling in hot. And I feel like we take at least 3 out of 4.
Yeah, I agree. 3 out of 4, maybe sweep.
Maybe a sweep, and then looking at, do you want to get to Atlanta?
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that.
Yeah, because the next one we're gonna be doing would be Thursday before the Friday, right?
Yeah.
So
potentially Kershaw pitching that Monday game,
mm-hmm.
and then Bueller, and then back to Gonsolin.
All right.
And then I don't know who the Braves have going. Let's see.
They say what for Freed?
Do the Braves play tomorrow? Yeah, they play the Padres in 4 games.
Yeah,
So
we're looking here. It looks like it's gonna be Freed how do you
yeah,
pronounce
I
his
think
last
it's
name?
Max Fried.
Freed, right?
Fried,
Max Freed,
Morgan.
Morton, and Wright.
So it should be a good little pitching matchup. I
Right.
mean,
I'm looking the first 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. That's gonna be some solid games right there.
yeah, I feel like the whole series is going to be a good one, and
Hmm.
it's going to be fun to watch. NLCS rematch.
Hmm.
Freddie Freeman get to play against his boys. Some of his boys at least.
I'm thinking, what 5-2? Those 7 games
5-2. So you're saying
adds up to 8-4.
so they take 3 out of 4 and then take 2 out of 3 from the Braves.
Hmm.
That would be a nice little homestand.
Right.
5-2
Nothing crazy. I can't
going
see
going into that next weekend series.
into San Diego.
Into San Diego,
Hmm.
the Padres.
That is gonna be that Friday, Saturday. We have a off day on Thursday, or they have an off day on Thursday, and
We also have an off day on Thursday.
we do too. Yes, well, we'll be podcasting on that Thursday or Wednesday. We can do it Wednesday night and drop it before.
We'll see. We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk. But yeah. So I'm thinking five,
I agree.
5-2,
5-2.
possibly 6-1. I would love that.
I mean, obviously 7-0 would be a lot better, but I mean,
Right, but I'm just looking at that. The biggest one I'm looking at that Atlanta and Max and Charlie. I think they're gonna take one.
yeah,
And then
got Charlie. Depends on Kyle Wright pitches too.
right.
Charlie Morton, we seem to see better now. The Dodgers,
Hmm.
and then Max.
We've seen him. We've seen him a lot the past 3 years,
Yeah,
3-4 years.
Houston, Tampa,
Raised,
Atlanta.
and then yeah,
So yeah,
he's just following us.
I'm watching you guys.
Oh, but yeah, so I'm gonna say 5-2, possibly 6-1. If we are gonna get a sweep, I would say it's Cincinnati, not Atlanta.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
5-2 seems like a solid, you know. But I mean, should we do like a player of the week for the Dodgers?
we could do that.
Let's do a player of the week for this week, and then who we think's gonna be the player of the week, and then we'll kind of
Okay. Oh, we're doing records.
Yeah, we could do like a little game,
Okay,
So,
we'll do a little record.
Since it's the
Um,
first, I think this week I'm gonna give it to Chris Taylor.
Chris Taylor.
Yeah, he hit the ball well.
I was looking Lux,
Lux too. I think it's a good,
but I have to look. I'm gonna look at the stats.
I'm
Real
looking
quick.
at stats right now too. I click Lux. I clicks Taylor. Lux, 353, 1 home run, 5 RBIs. Okay, that's solid.
That's pretty solid.
Chris Taylor. Oh yeah, I'll go with Lux. Lux, yeah.
Lux.
Chris Taylor's he's 313, 1 RBI and a stolen base.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna go Lux.
Lux. We'll give it to Lux this week. My MVP for this week, I feel like there's that bad blood, and he's gonna
He took mine.
and he's gonna go for. I mean, we can pick the same guy,
No, we have to pick different. We have to pick. Yeah,
we always
first.
all right. So next week you get to pick first then.
Yes.
All right. So this week I'm gonna go with Freeman. I'm gonna go with Freddie. I feel like that revenge tour is coming. Those 3 games is gonna go crazy. Play a Reds team that's not the greatest.
Yep.
Gets to play in front of the home crowd officially for the first time.
Okay. This is a tough one. You know what? I know who I'm picking. I'm going with Max Muncy.
That was my second one. I was thinking Muncy
Yeah.
just hit a home run. He might
Just hit a home run. He's batting 118 right now.
Yeah.
that's gonna shoot up. He's gonna be at least by the end of this week. He's gonna be hitting. I'm gonna say he's gonna be hitting like I'm gonna say at least 260 something.
All right.
So I think he's gonna be hitting about 3, maybe 400
for the week.
In between there for the week.
All right.
I think he's gonna get hot.
That'll be nice. Well, I'll even throw in for player of the week along with Gavlin. So I'll throw in Kershaw just because he threw 7 perfect innings, dude. I mean, so
yeah, it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough, but
it's gonna be tough.
I'll give Lux and Kershaw honorary player of the weeks.
All right, honorary player of the weeks.
And then next week, Freeman versus Muncy. We'll see if it's any of those two. How are we gonna do this? Who does better between those two, or just like overall player of the week? And like, who gets it? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Between those two guys, I say we do one where it's just like the two guys we choose against each other, and then the guy,
overall player of the week. For sure.
Because I mean, Mookie Betts might go crazy.
You get 2 points for player of the week.
If you pick, you get 2 points.
If you get the right player of the week, and then you get 1 point for
if your guy wins.
If my guy does better, obviously, that's gonna happen. All right.
I like it. I mean, that is the first edition of the new series, Blue Balls. Let us know if you like it. And
if you, we'll be doing this every week. So if you want to get a little bit of some blue balls, then come on down.
Oh God, adios.
See you guys later.